You are now locked in to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
A lot has gone on.
A lot has happened. You've gone back into work. That's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
How do you feel about going back into the office?
I feel like this is a crime.
Right?
Oh my God.
This girl cannot believe that she has to work, guys.
No, but I thought you were going in 3 times a week.
Work. Sorry?
Isn't it 3 times a week you said you were supposed to go in?
Yeah, it's 3 times a week,
Right.
but there's
This
tube
week
strikes happening this week.
Yeah.
So
Look at God.
they were.
He's on your side.
Do you see?
You're right.
Let there
Look
even
at
be
God.
tube strikes next week.
Actually, people need to go to work.
Sorry, my issue is not that I have to work. My issue is if I can do it at home, why am I going outside?
Right.
No,
Why
but
am I getting on the train?
Have they not addressed that though? The fact that you can actually work from home. What's the reason?
That's why they've given 3 days a week.
Yeah, but what is the reason for even coming in the first place? Are they?
Because I think they just
what
want
they're
like
saying?
they want teams to meet other teams.
So why can't it be one? I don't need to
socialising.
meet you 3 times a week though to do
No,
that.
I feel you. I feel like they just wanted
not
to.
think?
Yeah.
I think they're just excited, innit? I feel like there's people like you that don't mind being at home, but there's a lot of people that work in the office that miss human contact. I
A lot
miss
of people
human
live
contact
by themselves as well, so they don't have other people to speak to.
Honestly,
which I
and
completely
I've noticed
understand.
in the UK, I feel like working culture is literally something else. Like, like work is almost like a separate life for a lot of people in the UK.
It's like an escape.
It's an escape. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, I have never worked a job where you go in every day, and I'm excited to do that because like so like I think I'm quite a people's person in that way, where I'm excited to meet new people and talk and just make people laugh.
Do you know what it is? All in all, it's not even that bad. I don't want to come across as if I'm not even a people's person, because I am. Like, my career path and everything that I'm doing is involving people. But the only thing like I don't like about going into work and doing a 9 to 5 every single day going in, it's just the commute, the waking up.
That's what it is for
me.
me.
The waking up, the commute,
that's
like
the main thing.
it's just ridiculous. Like rush hour and just gathering yourself just to start the day. I feel like once I am in the office, there's no issue. I'm fine working with people.
Like I enjoyed it.
I can do the face smiling,
time.
I can smile and do all what I need to do for my day. Like customer service on point, 10 out of 10. And then again, the commute to go back home, it's just all on.
And one thing I realised while working from home, it was the flexibility.
Yes.
Like once I'm finished working, I can go do what I want to do straight away. Whereas when you're working in the office, it's you have to get home. By the time you get home, it's time to get ready.
You can even start prepping for dinner 15 minutes before you clock out. Like
more time you can be doing stuff throughout the day. Like literally,
I try to be generous.
Mate, my last job, I was doing different errands throughout the day. Talk less of after work.
We should message us in a group chat. We'll be like, why are you not working? She was like, I'm not working today.
I'm hearing outside. I'm thinking, why are you outside?
I've got things to do if I've done my tasks.
No, it's true.
No, it is true. I love the flexibility.
Maybe, do you know what they need to introduce? You lot that run businesses, especially if you're a big business, right? Start paying for your employees to go to work and back. Maybe send them a car.
Can I say something?
Because that might be nice, And
I do feel as though a lot of employers are morphing and just understanding the new generation and generation X and Y, because I feel like in comparison to the other generation, like the baby boomer generation, like our parents' generation, they seem to be accepting of loyalty more than money and these
100%
incentives in comparison to us. Like we care about incentives, we care about things like flexibility,
1,000,000%,
like extra
mental
pay,
health,
days off, early finishes, own clothes day, little things like that.
Even like when I speak to my parents about like, someone's taking a day off because of their mental health, they don't understand that.
No.
They feel like you have, like literally,
that's not a thing.
For them, it's I must go to work.
Even
every day.
Even my parents, like even them as well, when they are ill, they just don't understand that you can just call in. You can't come and kill yourself. My mom would literally be like, I'm not feeling like, I don't feel like working today. I'm just not in the mood. Like maybe she's having a bad day and she's just down, or she's ill, or whatever the reason is, and she genuinely doesn't understand that you can literally just call them.
They'll
you are
still
human.
That you're allowed to have a sick
and
day.
they will replace you so quickly. They have other people that can do your role.
It's their work ethic for real.
Yeah,
because their work ethic is different to ours.
Absolutely,
100%,
and rightfully so.
Because even like what you said is so true about the difference between our generation and our relationship with work and companies and their relation. Like they were in a company their whole career. They would stay in the same company unless they felt like they wanted to change maybe their salary or something like that.
Literally,
but like what you said is true. Ours is like incentives. Ours is like what perks do we get from the job, stuff benefits, like that. And you'll notice a lot of the new age companies now, they have stuff like girls can have their time of their month off. You will notice random stuff.
Even this 4-day working week thing, I think it was literally not introduced necessarily, but we encouraged our generation encouraged. I remember speaking to my mum about the 4-day working week. She just laughed at me. She's like, "What is your generation up to?
They think we're lazy.
We're trying to change the status quo, rightfully so, because at the end of the day, as long as the job is getting done, we do not need to stress ourselves. It's literally about working smart, not hard.
Exactly. Like we don't want to.
Our parents are struggling to understand that.
We don't want to live to work. We want to work so we can enjoy life. Well. And I think that's the dynamic that they don't get. Do you get what I mean? Like, we want to enjoy the money that we make.
Working in HR, you see a lot of these things. Like, I remember doing my master's, and what we're talking about was actually a study that was conducted. That was part of my my dissertation as well. Like, it's something called the psychological.
That's our girl. To the guys in a bag.
Not to the guys.
She preach.
She always preaching.
We gotta listen.
She preaching a dissertation. She preaching now
in the podcast. Yes.
What's wrong with the baby?
She preach. She pray. And she always tell the tweet.
What's going on?
Sorry.
That is a motto. Wow.
She preach. She pray. She always tell the tweet.
What's the last bit?
Tweet.
The truth.
Whoa,
that was new.
How did you understand that straight away?
No, she's been saying it for a bit.
What is it? The tweet.
The tweet. Can you imagine? That's how she's saying the truth. The tweet. Anyway, she's jobless. Anyway,
my friends are so funny.
Them.
So it's something called in research. It's called the psychological contract. So studies.
Give chance.
It's literally what we're saying. Studies found that the baby boomer generation, which is like our parents' generation, the psychological contract is basically like an unspoken contract between employers and employees, and it's just expectations that both employees and employees have about each other. It's not something they necessarily talk about, but just because you're my employer, you have to provide this for me, and I do this for you. So the study did find that the older generation did not really care much about the psychological contract, as we were saying, in comparison to us. We hold the psychological contract up to a certain hierarchy, and our employers genuinely have to consider those things that we want. Literally the little factors that we were talking about, like the little incentives, the little incentives that we're talking about. So yeah,
because it makes us feel valued. Like,
absolutely,
I feel like what our parents' generation had was like this undying loyalty to a company. Whether they treat you crap, whether they don't care about you, they're gonna be there. Like where for us, you build our trust in you. Like wherever we go to work, we don't feel loyal to you. If we're not happy, we're going.
And literally,
and that's it. One thing about me, if you're stressing me,
I'm out.
That is, we've done that.
All of us.
We've all done that. We've done that before, where we felt like the job was just too much for us, or we just didn't feel happy. We are gone.
If it's not that we even leave the company, we might even change career paths. Like, it's mad because, for instance, me, I studied graphic design at uni. You might have not known that, but actually some of you would know that.
I've said it on the podcast.
And like, I'm not trying to be in that field anymore. So like, and I don't have any qualms about it. I don't feel like it was a waste of time. I just think it's a learning experience.
You don't want to work with someone else doing that. You're doing it.
I'm doing it myself, and I have my own stuff going on. But for a corporate, I don't see that happening for me.
Freedom and the flexibility
that we can have.
We have our generation. So what I wanted to ask as well, with everything that we're saying, do you then think that our generation has become lazy?
Oh, that's a very good one.
Because the reason why I asked that is because while I do believe, like you said, the psychological contract and how we factor in all of these things, and they're very, very important. I'll be the first person to preach it. I'll be there protesting. If they need me, I'll be there on the front line for that protest.
Wait, protesting what?
To have flexibility in
work
and
the
all
benefits,
of that kind of stuff, all of that.
To answer your question,
that's a very high thing. But on the flip side, I feel like the older generation now would argue is that
we're just becoming lazier and we just don't enjoy working.
And in a sense,
my mum says that all the time, by the way.
We're very laid back. We don't work hard enough.
Right.
My mum says that. My mum says that all the time. My mum says that all the time, especially when I've been telling her about, this 4-day working. We just, giving her updates as to what's going on in the working world. She's very shocked by it. She thinks we are a lazy generation. But what I think of that, which I do say back to her, I don't think we're lazy at all. If anything, we are I don't want to say we're harder working, we're just as hard working, because we've spoken about this on the podcast before. The younger generation, if you see how many people are starting their own businesses, doing little things, you know, going down the entrepreneur route and doing their own thing, I don't think we're lazy at all, even though some people do it for different reasons. Some do it just, you know, quick way up or making quick money, which is not right. But at the end of the day, it's the fact that something has to motivate you. You know, if it's money, fair enough. You know, money motivates me too. You know, if I do feel like I am good at something, the first thing I will think about is how can I make profit of it? How can I generate income? Like, how can I do this? How can I do that? So I don't think, just to go back, I don't think we are lazy. I just think, like I said before, their generation just believe in working hard. Like they understand you got to work hard for what you get. And let's be honest, the older generation have this thing where they glorify suffering as well. Let's be honest, we've spoken about that. They just think, you know what, for you to make it to, don't get it twisted, of course you have to work to make it to the top. You can't just sit around in your room and success will find you. That's not what we're saying. But it's about working smart.
That's it.
Right.
This is what I was saying before. That's what I think our generation is emphasizing more than our parents' generation. Working smart. Because at the end of the day, it's not as if companies or employers aren't gonna gain some sort of profit from it. The work will be done. 100%. We're not saying we're not about to sit there and just get paid for doing nothing. But what are the other ways that we can do this without either of us getting stressed out? Mental health has become
pushing ourselves to a point.
Mental health has become such a severe thing now.
Seriously.
You know, and you know, working and career paths have a part to play in that 100%. As well. So we definitely have to consider that.
I don't even think we're working less. I just think we're working differently.
Very different.
It's different. There's a lot of job roles and job opportunities that have now come to surface that wasn't there 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
You know,
and for them, like, they don't understand it. Like even like social media jobs, that wasn't there. And if anything, it's just going to keep expanding.
Of course,
it's going to keep growing. And it doesn't now mean that we're not working as hard. We're just working differently. And like I said, we're working smart.
And also technology as well is a big thing. Obviously, a lot of manual labor roles that were previously there in our parents' generation, the older generation,
it's now machines.
It's all machines. And you know, like you said, even though there are opportunities coming in elsewhere, other opportunities are ending as well.
100%.
Do you know
certain jobs are coming to an end.
So like you said, it's just different. It's not the same.
Different.
It's different.
I feel like I'm half and half, you know, because I think I'm lazy, right? So I'm gonna be honest.
What does she mean?
And the thing is, other people might not think I'm lazy in it, but the way I approach life soft life always.
But that doesn't mean lazy.
But when I say I think I'm lazy, I don't think I'm the laziest person ever. But what I mean is, like, if stress is involved, I'm more likely just gonna say, you know what, I'm choosing the soft life over stress and struggle.
Why would you want to struggle and stress over the soft life? It's a very normal thing.
You're
it's
right.
like walking into.
You're right. But the reason I say
that.
we're half and half, and our generation, I think our generation is half lazy and half working smart, is because there are people that lack the work ethic. They expect things to just be given to them out of nowhere, where our parents' generation don't have that. Our parents' generation knew that they had to work to get certain.
They didn't have a choice
to get certain things in life, and we have that liberty of not working the same way. I'm not going to say less hard, but we have the liberty of not having to work the same way that we have to access certain things, and I think that does make you slightly lazier and a bit complacent.
That's true.
And the reason why I agree though with the working smart, actually, let me also touch on something else. One thing about our parents' generation is that they also didn't know how to enjoy the fruits of their labor, which I think is why their approach lacked balance. If you're gonna work your whole life, but your children have never gone on holiday, you've never enjoyed this money. Everything was just work.
Survival mode.
You know, survival mode till the day you drop.
Thing.
Like literally, some people don't retire; they die at their job because that's literally what they've known. That also is not a healthy thing to pass on to your kids.
Absolutely.
But on the other side of us working smart, I 100% agree, because our generation have found ways to make things profitable that our parents never knew you could profit off of. You can literally say you want to vlog your life,
or they never had the tools to profit off it.
It just wasn't accessible, or it just wasn't a thing at that time. People literally make money off of showing people what they do every day,
daily, and big money at that.
And our parents, even to come to terms with that as a job, is still something they can't wrap their heads around.
Literally.
But it actually does take a lot out of you, because it takes a different. like, we're not necessarily doing manual labor jobs, but we're doing very mentally tasking jobs. I feel like that's the difference as well in our generation. We do jobs that require a lot of like emotional capacity or a lot of mental capacity, versus our parents' job was very, like, if you're a manual laborer, you just need to be very in good physical strength. And then, do you know what I mean? Versus now, if say you're a social media influencer, you then have to take into the consideration how many comments you're going to get, and how that affects your self-esteem, and how this, and how that. And that's a different world altogether that some people can't comprehend.
You know, you have to be strong-minded to do a job like that. So obviously I can understand why, I can understand why our parents might downplay it, but in itself,
but it's a different world, and they just can't relate. So I wouldn't say we're lazier. I would say there's definitely lazy aspects in our generation, but nobody wants, let's be honest guys, nobody wants to work. Like, nobody wakes up and says they want to work for fun.
This is my life.
Like, for us, we don't even see the podcast for us is still not work, it's fun, and I think that's why we enjoy doing it. Even if it was to become our jobs, the reason we'd enjoy it is because we have fun. It was fun first.
Exactly.
Versus we're applying for something, then we're going for interview, then we're proving to people that we're good enough to do something.
Do you know what I mean?
Our generation, we're kind of over that.
Yeah.
We're kind of over that.
Exactly. And the one thing I was going to say as well, just based off what you said, was about, what was it? I don't remember what you said, but I just remembered, like, our parents as well did not have to go through, like, just to consider, maybe, you know, our parents, a lot of them were first gen, a lot of us, so our parents were working back home. Obviously here in the Western world it's different, because obviously as black people we're minorities, so do you feel like we have to work harder to prove ourselves extra more in comparison to what our parents had to do back home? Not to say they didn't work either, but at the end of the day, let's be honest, here in the Western world, you know, as black people, we do have to work a little bit.
Do you mean in comparison to when they were working at home?
Back home,
versus here?
Yeah. Do you feel like that plays a factor as to why maybe we're not as lazy? I don't know.
That's a very good point, you know?
that is.
Because when I think about my parents, obviously they came here when they had my brother. So they came here like 26, 27 years ago. And so obviously when they came here, this country... racist.
What I'm trying to say is they had their youth back home.
Oh, as in, so you're talking about them working there is different to us having to build a career here.
Yeah, in a way.
But I feel like they still had to do both. That's what makes theirs different.
True, they still
had to come here, and a lot of our parents were qualified in so many things.
That's so true.
And then they literally had to come here and then do a whole nother degree
again.
Go and prove themselves to the white man.
Not even a degree. Roles that
they need your job.
100%.
It's so mad that you say that, because when I'm thinking of my mum, this woman was a secretary for like a company that's basically like the Goldman Sachs.
Wow.
And then she was an air hostess.
Right.
Wow.
And then now when I think of like even hearing other people's stories from their parents, it's like they've done roles like that back home.
Right.
And they come here
and then they literally start from the bottom up
and they have to
work their way.
Literally.
It's
and
crazy.
it's mad because
they don't even work their way up. They're not given the opportunity.
They don't even get to that point. A lot of our parents stay at that cleaner role for their whole career.
That's it.
Like in my dad, so my dad has a similar story. When my dad was in Niger, my dad had a business. My dad was doing a range of things. Like he had a good life essentially. Then you come to the UK now. And you start from zero. He was doing security.
You know, absolutely.
And to be honest, I'm so proud of my dad because the way he finessed his way up
that's with a lot of our parents. Like we don't, you know what?
He did a good
Sometimes
job.
I look at my mum and dad and think, you literally left everything back home, and they literally left everything.
Security.
You come here and so, you know, a lot of them do not know what's waiting for them here. They just said we're going.
Not a clue.
We're gonna pick these kids up, or we're gonna, you know, go there, have our kids. Because in my situation, you know, me and my brother were born back home, so we came here. You know, so they brought us. We were young when they brought us here. They didn't even know what they were coming to. They just came because they just wanted to move.
It was a better life.
You know, so they came. They started from the bottom. They built themselves up. And when I see them now, I say this all the time. Like when I see them now, I'm just in awe. I'm speechless because how have you built such a life for yourself in such little time? I don't know if I'd be able to do that.
That's probably why I understand
why
where they're coming from.
Because it's a different.
Because to do what they've done, I don't think we can do that.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I think of? Yeah, you know, even like have you ever had that feeling? Yeah, when you go on holiday, like and you feel overwhelmed, like oh my days, it's a new area. Like I need to get accustomed. Like where is everything? Blah 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 blah. Imagine now for them, it was not holiday. They're here to stay.
Even what we were,
they're having to now think of housing, passports, jobs, all of these things.
Even what we were saying, look how they had to start from the bottom up, and we were saying earlier about if we're not satisfied at a job, we're leaving.
Or if I'm stressed, I'm going.
You think they have the choice?
I when I'm telling them, they're looking at me like, even when I told them, oh no. Sorry.
When people are throwing eggs at them in the street. When my parents got here, you know, London was racist. Like, it's still racist.
Yeah,
I mean, like, overtly. They were in Bermondsey, South London, getting eggs thrown at them. Racismo. In this London. And then you think that they've got the chance then to be like, you know what? I hate this area. Let me move.
Let me go. Where they go into
that is, and that's why
they rode it out.
It's not to put us down because I'm not saying we were not like working hard, but we
understand where they're coming from.
I'm not going to come here and sit here and lie on this podcast and say that I could do what my parents did. I don't think so.
I could never.
I don't think so. I
don't want to say I could never because you never know until you're in that situation. But from what I know about myself, I don't think I could.
Like with the same tenacity and resilience, to then bring out the fruits that my parents have brought out.
We're different. We're never gonna have to experience that
because they went through it for us.
You kind of make a whole other life.
Thanks, mum. Thanks.
No, I'm proper appreciative to my parents. Funny enough, we haven't done our intro, guys. Let's do that real quick. Hi guys.
Hi.
Welcome back to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
We are
your hosts. I'm Ayo.
I'm Temi.
And I'm Ashley.
Yes.
And if you're just joining us, we're talking about
life. Yeah. We're talking about what it means to be a worker.
Yeah,
obviously, most people are going back into normal working situations, that going back into the office, that led to us then talking about our work ethic compared to our parents' work ethic and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
But I wanted to kind of skew a bit off to the next topic, which was going to be, I wanted to talk about Jamal Edwards. Rest in peace to Jamal Edwards.
Rest
honestly, that news
and our
really,
condolences to his family and loved ones.
The news proper rocked me.
Yeah,
and
I remember you putting
like because the thing is, for me, I don't know about you two. When I was growing up in this country, I'm saying it like I came from a different country. But anyway, when I was growing up,
your childhood though,
from my childhood. When I was growing up, I grew up in a very sheltered house in terms of the music I even listened to, But on top of that, when I then started to find music for myself to listen to, I've never really been an American music type of lover. I've always really, really loved UK music. And so obviously SBTV was like it was like an insight into a new world of music,
especially from coming from your city and where you're
coming and people that look like you. And and like the fact that the legacy he created in 31 years, to me is so admirable, so iconic, so legendary. Like I just think we need to speak about it.
I read about it and he done such an amazing thing for a lot of people.
It's
like
crazy.
I haven't heard one bad thing about him. Everyone, he's helped a lot of people.
100%.
Honestly, it's such a sad thing.
Very.
And I think how his career has gone, I think that's very, like you said, admirable and commendable. And I think it is also what's the word? Like it's almost like what's the word? Something that you copy.
Right. It's
there's a
something you can emulate.
That's it. It's something to be emulated, because what he did is, once you're in a certain position, once you're in a position where you have the ability to help other people and put other people on, which I think is very lacking nowadays, because it's very, I need to get to the top and I'm going to do it by any means necessary. The position that he was in, he could have just been like, I'm just going to do videos and then that's it.
Yeah.
But
he did more
the
than
opportunity that he gave to other people from different backgrounds,
he literally started from nothing as well.
Exactly.
He literally started from just
had
a camera and went on the street and started recording people in the street.
That's it. And
you know
above all else, what's the most important thing is his character.
Character.
He maintained character, because a lot of the times there's a lot of people that some other people may look up to, but the character is not there.
Right.
Yeah,
but the character is very, for him, he could have easily been in that position and been rude, been dismissive, been just a nasty.
But he continued to help.
But the fact that all of the people that he's put on essentially have all those high things to say about him,
just goes to show.
Jessie J, all of those people,
Dave, and
they still have such, and they hold you to that kind of. I think that's something that we can all learn from and all emulate. 100%. And that's the kind of legacy that you want to leave behind.
Because that's the thing, people always, obviously, when these things happen, which are very tragic and really sad to hear about, like people that are young passing away, it's always the whole thing of, live your life to the fullest, blah blah blah, this is an opportunity for you to hear this, and be kind, and they say all these things. And do you know what's funny, right? I believe in the statement that every single day you wake up is another opportunity for God's not done with you, essentially. And with somebody, when people go early in our eyes, in God's eyes it might not be early. That's also something you have to remember. You have to remember that God knows why he put certain people on this planet. And he also knows why he allows certain people to go when they go. And so the impact that he was able to make at 31 years old, as you said, is so admirable. Something that everybody should want to emulate 100%. But it's like, it's groundbreaking. Like, if you see what SBTV did, that's why we now have stuff like GRM, and that's why we have stuff like Link Up TV. Now that's why we have Mixtape Madness, and we have all these other YouTube channels. And when he started that, he realized, okay, wait, I've done this, I've opened this door, let me help people in other avenues. He didn't only just help people when it came to music videos. He, like, you could speak, the guy that that has that clothing brand that's really popular at Cortez, apparently he spoke to him. Like, random people that are just creative, no signal, the radio station, like he helped them.
You can see
and you wouldn't even know
everywhere.
He wasn't ever tooting his own horn and letting people know, oh, I'm putting these guys on. Yeah, I'm just gonna put these guys on. No, he was just doing stuff in the background. And now that he's passed, obviously people are gonna speak on it because it's beautiful things to hear. But like, I feel like that is what is so admirable to me about him, that he didn't do it for the acclaim. He didn't do it for people to say, oh yeah, that's me.
He did it
just
from
did
the
it because he
goodness
cared
of his
about the
heart.
culture.
Absolutely.
He cared about the elevation and the what's that word, like the growth of our culture. And I think that's just, it's just something that
it's beautiful. I remember seeing, like, I don't even want to say a quote because it's one word, and within it, the word is contribute.
Right.
Any way that you can, whether it's when you go outside, compliment a stranger. If you think someone looks nice, if you think their hair is this, because some people might see them and think, oh, but I'm not doing great things like that.
Right.
You can do great things in small ways.
Your own way,
even the way you treat people, even the way you speak to people, even if it's you're thinking of someone, oh, let me actually check up on this person.
Right.
Oh, I was thinking of you. Right. I just thought I'd check in. Even if it's, oh, you're at work and you go the extra mile, you ask your manager, oh, is there anything else that you would like me to do to take off your plate? Little things like that. Even at home, the way you speak to your parents, oh, let me help out with this, let me do the grocery shopping this week. Little things like that, that changes people's life. It goes a long way. From your heart.
Yes, because that's the thing, not everybody. It's so funny that you mentioned that, because in church on Sunday, the Sunday school lesson or whatever was about the heroes of faith. You know, if you're familiar with the Bible, there's a chapter, Hebrews 11, where it just lists all the heroes of faith in the Bible, and then at the end it says and others, because there's so many people that that obviously were never mentioned in the Bible, but did so many iconic things, that did things that were so impactful for other people's life, because obviously their names were not mentioned. Some people might see that as them not being acknowledged, but that's the thing. Not everybody will have a platform. Not everybody will have the opportunity for people to know their name and to know what they've done. But that's not what's most important. It's about the contribution. It's about just doing it because you care.
And nothing ever goes unnoticed, because God sees everything.
God sees, 100.
God sees everything.
Facts.
Wow. But it's so true what you said about putting people on and that not being very popular right at the moment. And why do you guys think that is? Like, why do you think people refrain from putting people on?
You think people refrain from putting people
I think in some ways,
yeah. I think it's a fear. I think it's I think a factor of it anyway is I don't want this person to do or be better than me.
Right. So
I think there's definitely that essence.
Are you talking about within the black community or just in general?
Just in general, yeah.
Do you know what's one thing I want us to... Oh, this is a side tangent now, yeah? But do you know there's one thing, I don't know... I can't see.
33 minutes. No, good.
But I was just going to say quickly, like, one thing, I don't know, me personally, I want to steer away from, especially with the way social media has been looking recently, is always speaking negatively on black people as a collective. I don't know why, but that's just been on my heart recently.
I think we're just very critical of ourselves.
It's too much. Like,
it's getting out,
like, even the fact that you had to distinguish.
Yeah.
Like, are we talking about the black community?
Do you know why? Because I've associated that conversation with the black community. That's why I had to
that
ask.
Conversation is had anywhere on social media.
Oh, it's like black people don't want to put black people on.
Community.
But at the same time, I do understand, because we can only talk from my experiences.
Right,
but
makes sense.
But it's not. We don't have to be so critical of ourselves.
Because for me, I actually would rather have these conversations from the point of view as a human. Because if I'm talking about it as a human being, then everyone can relate, because we're all human beings. Right. Versus, okay, I'm speaking about it as black people, and I get that. That is something that's relatable to us. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, I also just don't want it to be a thing where it's always black people that are doing things wrong, because it's not like there's so many of us that are doing the right thing. Do you know what I mean?
Beautiful things. And Jamal Edwards was a perfect example.
But yeah, sorry, that was just a side tangent. Yeah, just in general, because okay, do you know who did this very well? The 90s babies do this extremely well. We're gonna be on their podcast one day. Just watch this space. Anyway, they do this well, where they will have anybody on their podcast. They don't, whether they have somebody that has 1,000 followers or somebody that is a celebrity, they don't really care. They just care about giving people that they believe in anyway. Even before, they had this thing called the 90s Baby Network that they've taken it back now, that they just do the 90s Baby show, but they literally open up their own YouTube channel so other people that wanted to start their own projects could upload on their channel so that they could have their viewership. Amazing.
Yeah.
Like, who does that?
That's amazing.
Do you know what I mean? It could be anyone. They could just apply to them and then they could share it. Like I'm saying, stuff like that, that's just genuinely because they want the advancement of a certain culture.
See how you've given examples of people that put people on like 90s babies. Do we have any examples of people that we know that don't actually put the effort extra mile, that are quite, because like I asked, do people not put people on? You guys said like who though?
Do you know, I wouldn't have a person. I wouldn't have a name.
I don't think that something like that would be something evident.
So evident, yeah.
But you see it in their character and the way they speak about, for example, like within the music industry, whenever there's a new rapper that's on the scene or that's rising, and then you'll see someone else that's, I don't want to say seasoned, but someone else that's been in the game for a long time, or someone else that was new, that was popping, and that might not be as popping or whatever. Right. The first thing they have to say about the other person is something like mean. It's very like mean girl-ish, very high, very secondary school. When you could literally use that platform to actually say something good. Like you'd be like, oh wow, by the way, your new song is
bringing someone down.
Yeah,
you know, there's a lot of hate going on.
It won't look as evident as, oh, I don't want to put that person right. They will never have to say those words, but it's even the way they maneuver and the way they'll speak about that person. It's and when they have the opportunity to do it, it's a tone of voice as well. Yeah,
I'll give an example because I want to give an example that can parallel. Obviously, it's not a name because I don't know people in it. But what I do know is that I can only speak for London. Like there's a thing of not wanting to be a beg or not wanting to be somebody that shows too much love to seem like you're a beg, right? And that then will lead to not wanting to put people on or feeling like my platform is mine. I can't be friends with you because you probably want something from me. I'm just assuming all the time that people want stuff from you. Like that in itself is a very superior way to look at yourself, and it's a way of also looking at other people, like putting other people down, because you're just like, oh yeah, because they're not where I am now, or if they're messaging me, they just want something from me. Right. And that's a terrible way to look at life. I actually think, like, say for instance something is growing, you see your platform is growing, that should in your heart be like, oh wait, I've seen a podcast over there, they're doing, like, I love their content. It's not just saying anyone. Obviously somebody that you see that is actually doing something of quality, you're like, okay, wow, okay, why not? But like, what, that could never take away from anybody's shine. And that's what I'm more saying.
Okay, I get that.
There's that whole thing of
I'm just gonna look a type of
it's
way.
It's not a competition.
There's
room for all of us.
100%, and you can see it. You can see that there's room because how many podcasts are thriving right now? So many.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
And there's just more to come. I don't imagine it just not. Do you know what I mean? I imagine
it's almost like us. Imagine like we see another podcast where similar dynamic to us, 3 young women, and we now
our first instinct is
should we reach out?
Why am I laughing?
Sorry guys, the rats are back. Yeah. Oh gosh. Say now we see like an episode of theirs, and the first thing, even if we're not doing it publicly, we could be doing it behind the scenes. Our first thing is we put it in the group chat where everyone was like, oh, have you seen this? Haven't we done something?
They're trying to copy us.
Oh, we did that
and then all of a sudden we just make it personal.
You're not the first, because there's always going to be someone before you who did it.
Right.
It's just about how you do it, how you contribute. It's not a competition. I just think it's your mindset to how you see certain things. Right. You don't have to see it that way.
There's a lane for everyone. Right. Because the same thing happened with Nella. Like anytime anybody tried to do the discussion videos after Nella, it was, oh, you're trying to copy Nella. Nobody could breathe anymore. It's all, you're always trying to copy Nella.
Nobody could sit in the uni accommodation.
No one can talk again.
Because if you're sitting in your accommodation, it's like, that's Nella's vibe though. You're trying to be Nella.
Why are you trying to be Nella? But what if you genuinely care about conversation and you just wanted to do a discussion video on your channel?
But what if that's the only space you can do it in? There's nowhere else to film the video. The only way you can do it is film it in your kitchen. That's the biggest space.
Do you know what I mean? And also, here's a thought: is discussion only? What did she create discussion as a thing?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like the way her format and editing. Yeah, if you take inspiration from her, credit her 100%. But then to talk about things. Do you know what I mean? That's
come on.
Ugh, it's not nice.
Anyway. That's all.
Let us know your thoughts.
We always want to know your thoughts. Let us know them in the comments. Check us out.
People are dirty, you know.
Right. Anyway, check us out on all of our social media. Make sure you're up to date. We're on TikTok, by the way, as well. Everywhere it's SDWTS podcast.
That's it.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.